everyone, as we promised, we bring for you, like it's me and Satakshi, Legal and Law School से आपके लिए लेकर आ रहे हैं episode 1 of the Legends of Law. We are super excited today to have Marisha ma'am with us, who is currently serving as the director of legal team at Ola. Hi ma'am, how are you?
Hi, Smriti. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, Shatakshi. Really
Hi.
nice meeting you over VC also.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Before we start on with so many questions that we have to ask you, can you just give our viewers a little introduction?
Okay. I would like to give my introduction first as a person, maybe, and then I'll get into how I became a lawyer because that journey and me being a person is now I'm at a stage that they're all equidistant, right? So I have always been somebody who was interested in communicating with people. Performance arts, particularly dramas and debates and elocution, is something that I was always very keen on in school. I was not a very high achiever when it came to marks, at least in school. I was a fairly normal student, and usually, I mean, my claim to fame is basically that can do much better was the standard line on my report card, the standard remark. I started my law journey, so to say, from my law school, National Law University, Jodhpur. This is back in 2004. And since then, I have had quite a bit of an experience from dealing with UK based law firms and international law firms to hardcore Indian litigation law firms to now in house. So I'd like to think that I've seen quite a bit of the gamut that there is.
That sounds really interesting. But as you just mentioned that right now you are in house, so can you just explain to our viewers one thing about being an in-house counsel that people, misunderstand a lot? Like
Hmm.
maybe they compare it with just law firms because for people, corporate just means law firms. A lot of people are not even aware of what
Yeah.
in-house counsels are. Can you
Yeah.
just throw some light onto that?
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you're starting with this question because I've been working really hard to dispel this myth that in-house lawyers don't work as hard as law firm lawyers. First of all, that's not true, especially when you are in the startup sector that I am in, where we are setting companies up from ground below and running out operations and rolling out international operations, etc. And a lot of work is now done in-house. This is one misconception that I would definitely like people to get done with. A lot of people, yes, they do compare working in law firms and working in in-house. I mean, a lot of candidates come to me also thinking that once they move in-house, life is likely to be slightly more chill. But unfortunately, that's not working with me. Uh, yeah, so in-house councils have come a very, very long way, especially with the growing economy and the new industries which are coming in, especially the e-commerce world. Now, e-commerce in itself is a very, very wide term. You can start with your Flipkarts and Amazons of the world, and then move to say Ola or even the smallest of things. For example, Ola Electric today is sold completely online. There is no dealer distribution network. This is the widespread that e-commerce in itself has seen, and today you have finance technology, you have food aggregation technology, which is like Swiggy. You have education technology like Byju's and QMath and Teachment. It's just gone very, very wide, and it's become very, very modern, which is why I think one thing which people should keep in mind about in-house lawyers is that you have to be a jack of all trades. You can't just claim yourself to be so I'm good at private equity and venture capital, you or I am good at, say, uh, civil commercial arbitration, or I'm a good original side litigator. This is not all that you can be. You have to be all of it and more, because the role of an in-house lawyer is both of an enabler and the guardian, because companies, when they come up with new projects, right, so you have to go through the entire business plan which has been presented and see the legal feasibility and the operational risks also which the company is likely to be faced with when the plan is rolled out. And operational risks often lead to legal ramifications, and we have to see and guard and hedge basically. Then how much of this risk can the company actually take, and how much needs to be protected, and how you need to navigate your course of business um, while rolling out a new business plan or an existing business plan as well. So I'm not sure if I answered your question correctly, but yes, my view of an in-house lawyer is that you have to know your business in and out. And the best part about being an in-house counsel for sure would be instant results of your advice. That's something that I would say that you do not always get to see if you are a litigating lawyer, because litigations historically in India run into number of years, and even as a corporate transaction lawyer, you are involved in a very small part of the company's functioning. You're not really involved in the holistic view of how you are actually making a change or a difference.
And then we believe that you have been in this industry for more than 10 years. And
Yes.
as we all know, that legal profession itself comes with a lot of challenges. So
Yeah.
can you recall any particular moment or instance in life where you face these challenges head on? And how can you suggest our young lawyer generation to be able to overcome such things?
So I'll be honest, I've been very lucky with the kind of bosses and mentors I've had all my life, right? They've all been very empowering and very encouraging people. But yes, everybody has their own set of challenges. Some of them could be personal. Sometimes you're having a bad day at home and you can't quite deliver at work. And when you are a lawyer, you're responsible for someone else's well-being in a lot of ways. So you have to put your personal grievances or personal issues aside and then just focus and full on work. Law in itself is a very, very demanding profession. If you want to do well, you have to give in a lot of hours. Sometimes that can also be challenging for people. And I mean, I used to work in Delhi before I moved to Bangalore, and there were, I mean, thankfully there were no instances, but yes, there was an entire, like overhanging fear that if I'm going back home at around 3 o'clock at night, will I be safe or not? But yes, I've had people always around me who've looked out for me, looked after me, and enabled me to get to where I am today. So yes, those are some challenges I would say that everybody faces. And one advice I'd like to give to my colleagues and my peers and my and any of the young people who are probably looking into being a lawyer, you have to be fearless. Fear has no space in law. Honestly, you have to be fearless to voice your opinion. You have to create a voice for yourself at the table, and you have to make sure that you give it your all. So yeah, that is one thing that I would definitely say that it has been my biggest takeaway.
I think that's a really informative piece of advice for all the viewers, because most of our viewers are students who are about to go to law school or are in initial years of law school.
Okay.
So if you get to know something like this from a person who has an experience of more than 10 years in the industry,
Yeah.
then that makes them also clear their head and understand what paths to follow during law school, how to carve their way out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I mean, I genuinely believe that, you have to create your own support system around yourself. You have to surround yourself with people who want to grow and who want you to grow. Uh, Common mistake is that people think that everybody is competing against me and therefore nobody is going to support me. That is not true. You will find your own people. Be smart about how you find them, and find ways to enable yourself. Ask for help where necessary. There is no shame in asking for help. Create an environment which enables you to get to where you want to go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, because law as a profession, I believe, also comes with a lot of emerging trends. Every day there's
Yes.
something new. So, is there a trend currently or a development that you currently are following, or you think that for the legal profession in total, this has been a very good change that has happened?
Mm, okay, so as a lawyer, you can't not read, right? You have to constantly keep reading. Whether you are a law student, or I mean, you always remain a student of law, which is why law is a practice. The more you practice, the more perfect you get, and there is no such thing as perfection. So, in as a person, there are two kinds of things that I like to focus on, whichever industry that I am associated with. Like I was associated earlier with Swiggy, which was a food aggregation model. I am now associated with Ola Electric, which is an EV manufacturing company. I definitely make sure that I am reading as much as I can what is happening internationally and in the domestic sphere in the industry that I am in. Um, I like to be two steps ahead of my business when it comes to trends which are likely to come, because the more you read, the more you can predict which way the law is likely to go, and the more you can work towards policy advocacy also. And my personal interest has always been towards data protection and personal data protection laws. The bill has been tabled many times and it's been under debate many times. It's seen various revisions over a period of years. But yes, that is a law that I'm very keen on seeing how it goes about in India, especially with AI coming in, and things like ChatGPT
And GPT.
supposedly threatening the legal and other professions. Yeah. But
And with that, I would like to ask you questions like like I and Spriti both are mentors and faculties, like we interact with students on a daily basis. So one question that they really ask us a lot of time is, ma'am, how to stay motivated? Motivation is going, how to handle pressure, how to handle stress situations. So I feel like being an in-house counsel, there must be deadlines to meet. There must be like high pressure, high stress work conditions. So, how do you balance the stress and pressure, and what keeps you motivated and going on day by day?
um, I think कभी खुशी कभी गम में what शाहरुख खान said, आंखें बंद करो अपने माँ बाप का नाम लो सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा.
सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा.
I wish ऐसा कोशिश तो यही रहती है. पर नहीं, so it's important to keep the bigger picture in mind. आपके पास deadlines होंगी. Sometimes you'll have to prioritize. Sometimes you'll have to say no. Saying no is as important as saying yes. You can't do everything. You need to know your limitations, and there will be bad days. Being a lawyer is no different from being a human being. There will be days where you will not be motivated. It's okay to have them. It's okay, but it's important to then take some time out and prevent yourself from burning out, because a lot of times with young lawyers I've seen that they work so hard that they don't focus at all on their mental well-being, and that is something that bothers me deeply. you know um, because see, as we have seen families growing apart, and most of us have moved out of where our familial homes are. A lot of us are living by ourselves. We day in day out we come back to a khali ghar, and all of that is I mean, even for kids who are studying, right? If there's you guys have all been to law schools. May be surrounded by friends, but at the end of the day, when we go back to our bed, a lot of times we are hit by this bout of loneliness, this homesickness. Take time out to check in. It's important to do that. Have hobbies, follow them passionately. Be more than a lawyer. You are a person, and value that for sure. And sometimes you will still not be motivated, and that's completely okay. That's just that day. It's not defining you in any way unless you let it. So it's I mean, I personally think it's perfectly fine to make mistakes. If you don't, you're not learning. And go by, and it's important to have, like I said, a support system, right? Like I have friends at office. Some days that I just don't feel like working, or if I'm like really really tired because I've pulled in all nighters for 3 days, then I do speak to them. I ask them for help. I ask them to pitch in sometimes. It's important to just step out with your team, maybe for a coffee, or just for some food. All of that makes a lot of difference. um, keep checking in, and be okay with making mistakes, as I would say. Two things that one has to take care of.
Your answers are really giving us a huge clarity of thoughts right now. And I think the same goes with the person who is on the other side listening to all the answers. And I think with this clarity of thought, you must enter, in your law school and then, go through the entire journey.
I don't know, Smriti. So I mean, some of us are lucky enough to be very clear at
Hmm.
that age. I wasn't. It was my mother who told me that I should probably sit for law entrance exams, because a couple of kids who were similarly inclined in school were also lawyers, and I had no idea. I genuinely thought that I'd probably end up making films one day. But life happened, and I am a lawyer, and I'm glad to say that I think I'm a decent lawyer enough. I mean, but yeah, I genuinely think that it's not at 18, you don't need to know everything in your life.
Everything. True. I
And
think
law
this
is such a
clarity comes
yeah,
eventually with
Yeah.
time.
and law is such a study, that
Hmm.
whatever you want to do, except maybe medicine, but whatever you want to do in life, if you are a lawyer, it helps you
Hmm.
because there are laws related to everything that you're doing.
So,
So
ma'am, within this entire pool of laws, did you choose up or end up choosing a particular field of law, or always have that concept in mind that I'll study everything and go forward with every single, will not stick to one specialization or one area of law? What was your approach toward that?
yeah, I did not want to become a specialist on day zero. I wanted to try a few things and understand because what you study in law college is very different from how at the real world works, right? I mean, it's not as bookish. So I did dabble a bit, and I finally figured out what I like doing and how I like to approach things. So litigation was something I definitely enjoyed, and it helped me learn a few very important skills like getting into details, understanding the basic facts, remembering a lot of facts in one go. That and from there, when I journeyed into being an in-house counsel, I think all of that helped a lot. I so far I think I enjoy being an in-house counsel the most. But I am this is like I said, this is so far. I don't know where will I be 5 years from now. Yeah,
As much as I'm enjoying this conversation, and I don't want it to end,
yeah.
but on
We've
this note,
already
I would
exceeded our time.
I'll just ask you like two final questions, which I think are very important for our viewers' perspective also.
Yeah.
First, what are your views about students who feel they are like a first generation lawyer? They don't have anyone to motivate them. They don't know what to do, how to do, and how to go about with that thing. So they feel really lost during law school.
Hmm.
And secondly, if someone is trying to build a career as an in-house counsel, so what are the skills they should ideally focus on? So is there something they should be prepared with or they should inculcate in themselves that will help them down the line?
Um, okay. So to answer your first question, um, you and I are both first generation lawyers, and I think we have done fairly well. Uh, I think it's important to seek mentors. They don't have to be super senior to you. They can be even your own peer. Somebody's approach you think is likely to lead to success. Pick their brains. Find seniors you can talk to. Remain in touch with your alumni. It's extremely important to remain in touch with your alumni. Participate in as many moot court competitions as you can. It doesn't matter if you don't win. It gives you the kind of exposure which no one else will. Other competitions like group discussions, debates, general fests, increase your exposure, increase your visibility, do a lot of internships. All of this helps a first generation lawyer a lot to grow. The more perspective and more visibility you gain, the more you're likely to grow. And also remove this barrier from your own head that you're a first generation lawyer. Because no matter who the other person is, they may be like they may have like five lawyers ahead of them, but if they are not good, they will not do well. They maybe give handed over an entire practice, but if they are not capable, they'll not be able to hold it, right? So it's about your skill set. And coming to that part, as an in-house counsel, people skills are extremely important because you are not navigating only amongst lawyers. You are speaking to tech people, speaking to business people, you're speaking to finance people, etc. um, be a good listener. Read between the lines. Read a lot otherwise also, and have clarity of thought. Those are a few skills that one must pick up.
I think hands down, but we have got all we want, and I hope that really the listeners out there, ठीक है,
Yeah,
उनको भी बहुत चीजों पे अभी इसमें क्लैरिटी मिली होगी कि उनको अपनी लॉ स्कूल कैसे नेविगेट करनी है,
yeah.
ठीक है, देन
This is a
आई
great initiative that you guys have started, and I think it will help a lot of kids. I wish there was something like this when I was a law student, but happy to be a part of it. Seriously.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an insightful and a fun session. Like there were so many takeaways right from the people, right from for the people who are entering law school, so people who are lost in law school, people who want to change their career path post law school. So it was an entire pack of conversation that we had today. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking out time for us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely speaking with both of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.